Okay, this video goes along with your note taker on domain and range of continuous graphs. So first of all, for domain, when we're talking about domain, we are talking about all of our x values. So these are all the values that are along the x-axis. So this here, if I was doing a coordinate plane, this would be my x-axis going horizontally. And the way we would check to see what our domain would be is we're going to scan our pencil on our paper from left to right. Because as we hit our numbers from left to right, if I was using this here, as I'm going from left to right, I'm going from my smallest number up to my largest number. And I would be using, again, my vertical line, go with my pencil, going from left to right, and I would see my values that are along the x-axis. And again, it's my horizontal axis. For range, if I'm doing range, I'm looking for my y values. These are all the y values. And again, I'm going to scan my paper. This time I'm going to go from bottom to top. And again, if I'm going in order from bottom to top, if I was using a y-axis like so, and I'm going from bottom to top, as I go from bottom to top, I'm going from my smallest number up to my largest. So again, in both cases, it's from least to the greatest is what we're looking for here. And again, we're looking along the y-axis when we're doing this. And this is just using our pencil to then see all the numbers that would fall on there. And we're going to practice now with our next question here. Okay, so with number 1, I'm looking at a graph that looks like a V, and it has arrows going in both directions or in opposite directions. I have this arrow here, and it's going this way, so it's continuing forever off the page in that direction. And then this arrow here is doing the same thing. It's continuing forever off in this direction. So if I'm trying to find my domain, again, domain are my x values. So to use my proper notation, I'm going to start like this with my x and a colon, and my range is going to be a y and a colon, and then I'm going to put what my numbers are going to be. So first of all, my x values, I'm going to use my vertical line, and I'm just going to, here's my vertical, like my pencil, and I'm just going to drag it across going left to right. And you can see it's hitting all of my numbers. And again, if I were continuing all the way up this way, it's going to keep hitting numbers forever and ever until I can't even go any further. So far, going this way on my x-axis, because again, my x-axis continues in this direction right here. It continues that way forever and ever. I can't go any further than my page here. I can't go any further than this. But the line goes forever and ever, just like the line here, my arrow is going forever and ever. So basically, even though it's kind of going up and to the left, it's also, if you think about it, all my values, it's going to be like, this is what, negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going negative, negative, and more negative. So this is going to go on forever in that direction. So that means that it's going to be all the numbers to the left of my origin of my graph. And then I'm going to go to the right, and you can see now it's still hitting my, I'm going to kind of put my finger where it's hitting. Oops, now I'm missing the whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to continue. It's going to go right down here. It's still hitting all these numbers. And even though it stops here and goes back up, I'm still going left to right on that x-axis. And again, if I was just going to go along here, it's going to still hit up there, keep hitting, keep hitting. And again, it's going to go forever in this direction too. If it's going to go forever and ever in both of my directions, my answer for this, for the domain, is all real numbers, because it's literally every number from the origin, every number going this way forever and ever, and every number going this way forever and ever. So that's what we're looking at, all real numbers for that. All right, let's take a look at our y-axis, our range. Remember we said we're going to start from the bottom to the top. Okay, well, if I hit the bottom here, I'm not hitting my graph at all yet. So it's not starting yet. I haven't hit anything, I haven't hit anything, I haven't hit anything. Now I hit something right there. It starts right there. So that is at negative 2. So my y is going to start at negative 2, and then it's going to go up from there, because it's going to hit all the numbers that are from this point right here that are along this line. It's going to keep going up and up and up because my graph is going to be on both sides of my bar here. As you see, my graph is hitting at 2 lines both times, and it keeps hitting, it keeps hitting. And again, it's going to go up forever, going up forever and ever and ever, and it will never stop. So when it's doing that, that means that my y values are all the numbers that are greater than -2, but it also includes -2. So you must have that equal to, because it does include it right there. That was my y equaling -2, and then it's everything bigger than -2. All right, let's look at the next one. We have a circle here with this one. Now we do have, in both cases, for x and y, we have a starting point and an ending point. So let's start with our x values again. If I'm looking at my x values going horizontally, left to right, if this is all my x values right here, going along there, I'm looking at where it starts. So again, I'm going to take my line, and I'm going to go from left to right. So I don't hit anything yet in the graph. I don't hit anything. I hit something right there. My graph begins at -1, 2, 3. That's at -3. So far, my domain is going to be -3. It's going to start there. And I'm going to see now where it ends. If I keep moving, it hits everything, it hits everything, it hits everything, it hits everything, and it stops right there. Doesn't go any further than that. So this is at +3. So I'm going to go ahead and write the +3 down here. Something has to go in the middle here. I need to have my x value right in the middle here. But now I have to think about how to write this, because my x values, what we're saying is they start here and they end here. And it's everything in between. That means that all of these are my x values right there in the middle. So it starts at -3 and it's everything all the way up to +3. That means that x is greater than -3, so -3 is less than or equal to, because it can include it. If x is greater than -3, then -3 is less than or equal to x, and x is clearly less than or equal to 3. The reason why we went left to right and later we're going to go top to bottom is if we do it, our arrows are always going to be in this direction like this, because this means least to greatest. Okay, so if we have our arrows going in this direction with our x or our y in between, like this, then whatever our number is here and whatever our number is here, then we're going in least to greatest, because this is my least number and this is my greatest number. So that's just kind of an easy way to do that. All right, now we're going to look at the, and I'm going to erase this part that I did. All right, now we're going to take a look at the y values. All right, so again, I have a starting point and an ending point, and I'm going to use my line and I'm going to start at the bottom. As I move up, I'm looking for where my circle begins, and I keep going, and it starts right there. So that is 1, 2, 3, -3. So my range, my y value, starts at -3, and if I move my bar up or my pencil on my paper, and I go up, up, up to where it stops, keep going, keep going, keep going, and it stops right there. Now that's a +3, so I'm going to put the +3 here. Again, y's got to go in the middle, and since I'm going in order, least to greatest, like we said right here, I'm going to use these symbols the same way, and it does include those numbers. It included -3, and it included 3. So there's my answers for that one. All right, next one here. Now these should be pretty easy. When you're seeing that your arrows are going off in opposite directions of each other, this is clearly going in one direction, and this one here is clearly going in the absolute opposite direction. My answer should be, I almost don't have to do any work, because I should know that my x values are going to be all real numbers, and my y values are also going to be all real numbers. But let's prove that. If I use my vertical line, first of all, to find all my x values, I'm hitting, again, I would hit forever and ever off this way, and I'm hitting, I'm hitting, I'm hitting, I'm hitting, I'm still hitting everything, I'm still hitting everything, and again, if I keep going this way, it's going to hit forever and ever going this way too. So even though you're not looking at the x, remember the x line is going here, this is our horizontal line right here. This line, remember, goes on and on forever and ever. And what we're saying is there's a point at every one of these points on this line. And it's everything in between, too. I can't even draw as many as there could be because there's a point on every one of these lines. And I can keep doing this. And then down here, now we start going the other way. But there's still a point on every line, and including in between the boxes and everything, we're saying that there's a X value on every one of these things. And again, it goes forever and ever and ever. All right, let's take a look at the Y values now. If just to prove it again, we're going to go from top to bottom. Or excuse me, from bottom to top. So I start at the bottom here, and again, I'm hitting already. I'm hitting right here, so my values are going to go forever and ever in both directions again. From bottom, I can't even start where it starts at, and when I go up to the top, I can't keep going any further because, again, it's all of these values to the Y-axis. So let me kind of erase what we did here first so I don't confuse you. Because I'm going to look for everything where it all matches up now to the Y-axis. So here's my Y-axis this way. And again, all of these, there's a point that hits to there on all of my Y-axis. And as I continue it down, it's still going to continue there from the Y. And then the same thing this way. And again, it's every single point. It's a continuous. It's not just where I'm drawing the lines to. It's everything in between. I can't even fill it up enough because there's an infinite number of spots that it could possibly be in. So that's why it's all real numbers. So again, if you think about it, if my arrows like this are going in opposite directions and forever and ever in opposite directions, my answers are always going to be X will be all real numbers and Y will be all real numbers. Okay, this one, it's going to be the same thing, except that they're not going in opposite directions. The lines are the arrows are actually going in the same direction. So one of these is going to be all real numbers, but the other one is going to have a starting point, and at least a starting point. It won't have an end point, but it'll have a starting point. So let's start with the X values. Again, even though it looks like they're going straight down almost, or going to be eventually going straight down like this, they actually are constantly flaring out ever such a little bit. So they're going on forever and ever in both directions. That means along here on my X-axis, it's going to be going on forever and ever in both directions. Let's use our line. Again, eventually there would be a point way down on the bottom here that would touch this. And then the same thing, if I keep going along, see like here, it's going to touch here, and then it keeps touching, and it's touching, and it's touching. And then again, now it's going to go down, and it's still going to touch each time. And again, it would keep touching way off the page, way down here. So my X value, as I go from left to right, moving from left to right, it's going to be everything, all my real numbers. So my X value, my domain, is all real numbers. And remember, again, we use that double-lined R for all real numbers. Okay, now my vertical line, or my Y values, it's not going to be all real numbers. Remember, I'm going to start with my bar at the bottom of my page. Well, I can't go as far as it is. So it's going to go on forever and ever in this negative direction. This way here, it's going to go forever and ever in the negative direction. I don't know how far, but it's never going to stop. So I got to keep moving up. And where does it start? I'm looking to see where it's going to start on this. It hits there, it hits there, it hits there, hits there, hits there, hits there. And then as I get right here to the crest of this, as I get to the crest of this, okay, now my thing doesn't want to move. Right there is where it starts, okay? That means that my Y, my range, my Y values are going to be not all real numbers because it has a starting place. It's going to be all the numbers. Y is going to be greater than 1, 2, 3, 4, or is it going to be less than 4? If this is 4 right here, it's going to be all the numbers that are less than 4. So Y is less than 4. But Y is also equal to 4 because right there at that point, it's also 4. So you've got to make sure you have that Y is less than or equal to 4. All right, our next one, again, we have a closed shape. This is very much like the circle. So as I'm going from left to right, I have a starting point and an ending point. I start right here. That's -1. So I'm going to go ahead and put for my domain, I'm going to put my X values, and I have -1. Now my ending point, again, going left to right, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a +5. my X is going in the middle of those, and to keep it going from least to greatest, it's less than or equal to and less than or equal to, because we're saying that X is greater than -1 and X is greater than or equal to -1 and X is less than or equal to 5. We're going to do the exact same thing now for our range. The same thing for our range. Okay, so we're going to start from the bottom to the top. So where we start at the bottom, we start right here is where it starts. That's going to be -1, 2, 3. So y colon -3. And then we're moving our line up. And if we keep moving up, we go here. That's where it ends. So we have +1, 2, 3. And again, the y has to go in the middle. And again, because we went from the bottom to the top, we went from least to greatest. So it's less than or equal to, less than or equal to. Again, it's equal to because that point is on that line right there. It's actually at that spot. All right, next one. Now, this one's a little tricky. Well, not super tricky, but it's a little tricky. Remember, my arrows are going in opposite directions, literally totally opposite directions. That means, again, that this is going to be an all real number situation. So my domain is going to be all real numbers, and my range is also going to be all real numbers. You can use that vertical line test to see again. I'm going to quickly just kind of show you. This continues, again, all the way down here off the page. But as I go left to right, I'm constantly hitting numbers. You can't see them here, but I am hitting them. Hitting them, hitting them, hitting them. Now you can see that I'm hitting them. I'm hitting, hitting, hitting. And then even if I go off the page here, if it goes up, it's going to hit, hit, hit until I can't go any further. So that's infinity or forever that way. And then again, if I use this, going from the bottom to the top, then we're going, again, it can go forever in this direction down, so I can't even go off the page, and then up, up, up. Now I'm hitting it. You can see me hitting it. And then as I go to the top, it's going to go forever and ever up there, so I can go forever. Next one. All right, this one is a little misleading, so you have to kind of watch out. I don't like how the arrows are on this. What they should have done on this one is they should have done this. They should have curved it up and then put an arrow, and then this one they should have curved it down and then put an arrow. Because if I see it like that, what we're noticing is there is a pattern to this wave. It's actually a sine wave, so it's a pattern to this. Since there's a pattern, we're going to say that it's going to continue to only go from here, like it's only ever going to hit here each time, and then it's only going to hit here at the top part of it. It's never going to get higher than this, and it's never going to get lower than this. All right, since that's the way it is, even these are going in opposite directions, but I do have a starting and an end point for my y values. But my x values, they're going to continue, like again, if I were going to do this, it's going to continue like this forever and ever this way, and then it's going to continue forever and ever this way, if I was going to keep going. All right, so using my x values, if I use my bar and I move it over, I'm hitting, I'm hitting, I'm hitting. I hit forever this way. And then if I hit, 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 I'm going to keep hitting it, keep hitting it, keep hitting it, and I keep hitting it again forever and ever that way. So for my domain, my x values, this is again going to be all real numbers. Now my y values are going to be different because I actually have a starting spot and an ending spot. So again, let's take our bar and let's start at the bottom. Well, if I start at the bottom, I don't go down here at all. Where do I finally hit? I hit right here. Okay, so I'm hitting here. And because I'm hitting here, this is going to be -1, 2, 3. So -3 is my bottom point. And if I move my bar up to here is where it stops, then it hits at +2. So it hits at +2. Again, y's got to go in the middle. And since I went least to greatest, it is including these points as well. It's going to include where it's hitting right here on these points. So this is less than or equal to, less than or equal to. Okay? Next one is this one here. We have kind of a C. So again, my arrows are going in opposite directions. Well, kind of. They're going to go on forever, I should say. It's going to go forever this way, and then it's going to go forever this way. So when I look at this, if I was using my y first of all, my y values, they do start down here. It's actually going to go forever and ever on the y. So I can't even find out where it starts. It's going to be forever this way. As I move it up, it's hitting, it's hitting, it's hitting, it's hitting, it's hitting, it's hitting. It's hitting, and again, as I move off the page, it's going to keep hitting forever and ever off that way. So my y value this time, we'll start there. My y is all real numbers. Now my x values are not going to be all real numbers. X is going to be, and if I look at this, it starts right here. That's where it's starting. So it's going to include that number. So x is going to, and it's going to go in this direction here. That means that x is greater than or equal to -1. And again, let's use that line test to see. It starts right there. I don't have anything this way of it, so it's not hitting anything there. But it starts right there. That's -1. And it's going to go on forever and ever this way. It's never going to stop because I'm going to keep hitting. See, I'm hitting the ones that I kind of made with the dots. And it's going to keep hitting all the way forever that way. So that's where we get x is greater than or equal to -1. Again, it's equal to because it is on that line, hitting that line. All right, next one. All right, then the last two here, these are the kind of special cases in a way. So you want to think about this because this one is a vertical line. My lines definitely go in opposite directions. Okay, so that part's good. That means for my x value, though, for my y value, that means that it's all real numbers again. Because again, if I take my line, I'm going to start with the y again. If I take my line and I start from the bottom, it goes forever this way, and then it's hitting everything. See, hit, it's hitting everything, and it's going to hit everything going up to the top there forever. So y is all real numbers. Now my vertical line for domain, that's a little different. Come on. Okay, so my vertical line, I literally only hit all the numbers at that point right there. You can see my line literally covered up the line that was already there. That means it's hitting right here at +2. So my domain in this case is where x equals 2. That is my answer for that. There's no greater than, there's no less than. It's always, always, always going to be 2. If we look at the horizontal line, which is our next one, now it's a little different. We're going to flip-flop it. So this time we know that our domain is going to be all real numbers. But our y value is where it hits right here. So it's -1, 2, 3, 4. So y is equal to -4. And again, if I move my line down here, we're going to see that the line is going to cover the line right there, and again it goes on forever and ever, but it's only hitting, that line is only ever hitting at -4 on my y-axis, because that's where it's hitting right here. So that's just a little review on this, on the domain and range of continuous graphs. Make sure you're practicing this, and good luck.